Welcome to the Rinks and Great Park Ice podcast. I'm here with Dave Walker, hockey manager at Great Park Ice, and Jesse Chatfield, director of marketing for the Rinks and Great Park Ice. I'm DJ, part of the marketing team. We're back with another episode of the podcast. Dave, do you want to talk about the initial ideas of the podcast? Seeing that it's a new look nowadays.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think early on when we started this, we were all kind of going through the lockdown and stuck in our homes, and trying to find ways to connect with our customers. And for us, it was trying to find ways to connect with just like essentially our hockey family, and keeping people engaged. I know we did a lot of like hockey from home stuff, videos and tutorial stuff that the kids really enjoyed. And then we came up with the concept of, what is something that people are really gravitating nowadays, is podcasts. They can listen to them, anywhere at any time, after work, during lunch breaks, on the car ride home or whatnot. So we figured it was a good element, good kind of way to really reach out to our customers and provide, some information on where we were step by step going through COVID, as well as maybe bringing on some guests and getting some information and stories from some of them, from their journey through the game of hockey and how the sport has really affected their lives in a positive way, and how good the game has been to them. So that was really the initial kind of step behind why we kind of did that. And we had 13 episodes. I thought were really good. We had we had a lot of really good episodes of people that have come on. We had Ken Martell from USA Hockey. We had some Ducks alumni. We had, our adult coordinators. We talked about high school hockey with Matt Blanchard. We had Kayla Burns and Ryan Johnson, who actually just won the World Juniors with Team USA. So we had a lot of really good people on to really discuss their paths through hockey, that I think was really beneficial for a lot of our listeners and a lot of people, definitely throughout our Grassroots family, to really stay in touch with us and hockey, and just to keep that kind of element of enjoyment and love for the game, and just finding different ways to really connect with them.
Awesome. Yeah, and what we're doing now, we want to keep that same energy going and hopefully get some of those guests back on, especially Ryan Johnson, being able to touch on World Juniors if possible. But also open it up to not only hockey, but figure skating content and guests, and then also have facility updates and things that are general to the Rinks and Great Park Ice that we can tell our listeners and followers. Because I think for some people, it's easier to hear someone talk about this information than having to decipher it through web pages and stuff like that and social media posts. So I'm just giving an extra resource for people to connect. And then a new segment that we're going to add is icebreakers. And this will be a segment that we will open up questions to followers to ask us, and we'll blindly just answer these questions. But today's question is, during the pandemic, during this, like the stoppage of time, what's one hobby or something that you learned during this time? So I'll kick it over to Dave first.
Oh, geez. One thing. I think there's really a few things that I think I really started to take, I don't say take a liking to, but I think really became more present in everyday life. Obviously, the Zoom platform. I think learning how to use the Zoom platform to whether it's to hold meetings or to just talk with coaches or talk with players. I think that became a big part of what everybody does, is becoming a little bit more, a little better at using their digital platforms. Took up running. I used to run when I was younger, stopped because I just didn't want to run. But with everything closed during the pandemic, I took up running. So I really took a liking to that, and still doing that. So I'm enjoying that. Find it's actually a way that I start listening to the podcast. I put a nice podcast on and go for a run. So outside of that, my wife and I get into some different TV shows. I think because we watched every show that's out there. So we came across a couple shows that we've been watching doomsday's preppers and building off grid kind of around COVID. I mean, they got so there's some funny shows out there, and like I said, just trying to make the best of that time, the last 14 months of that everyone's kind of been going through. So, but I think the biggest thing has been the Zoom and kind of learning the ins and outs of that.
Nice. What about you, Jesse?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to steal Dave's, but for me, running has been a hobby that I picked up during this time. I used to get my activity, you know, at the rink playing, or being a member of a gym or a climbing club. And when all of that shut down, I wanted to stay active. And I found that running allowed me to stay within the social distancing guidelines, get out, get in the neighborhood. It was painful at first, but now it's part of my routine, and I've started to enjoy it, actually.
Very nice.
Oh, you, DJ?
For me, I'd say the biggest one is cooking, like cooking at home. Shelly and she would cook most of the time, like she's really good at that, but got me more involved in the kitchen. And then we started to get really like adventurous with trying to cook different things. We hand rolled sushi and didn't get sick, so that was a plus. Tried a bunch of different things, and now it's become to where like I'm cooking more regularly throughout the week. So I appreciate that. Running was a thing that it was hard to find the time before, and then stopped, and I was like, okay, I need to be active. And I tried to have a streak where I was running 2 miles a day, and I think I lasted 30 something days. I wanted to do it the whole time that we would be at home, thinking that it would be like 2 to 4 weeks max. And then I made it like 35 days, and I was like, okay, I need to give my body a break a bit. But yeah, so like running, like you guys, cooking, and then for sure the FaceTime and the Zoom stuff. Wasn't big on that before, but then just being able to talk with friends and family and actually see some faces was pretty big.
Well, you've always been a runner, right? I mean, Dave and I, this is something new, a hurdle we've had to overcome during this time. You won office races and other things in the past.
I would intermittent. I used to run a lot, and then I'd fall off, especially being at Great Park. Like the travel to and from home is a little harder. So I fell off the wagon a bit. Aside from like the company runs where I like, okay, for the next 2 months, I'm going to try and dial it in. But now I'm doing it more regularly.
So you can beat everybody at work. Like I'm going to dial it in for a couple weeks, so when we have the company run, I can beat everybody.
I mean, I got whooped this time. Emily from Great Park, she's she's a track runner, so yeah. She smoked my time by like a minute and a half, and I can't even be mad because I tried my hardest, and I was like, yeah, okay, well, that's it.
What run was that?
There was like a virtual turkey trot that they had, and you could like run, bike, or rollerblade. And then I put my time in early, kind of not wanting to because I wanted to see what someone else put. Went out, did it, felt good about it. And then like the person that won, the next person that came in was like 2 minutes faster than me. And I was just like, okay, well, if it was like 10 seconds, I could be like, maybe, but 2 minutes, it's like, that's a whole nother pace that I can't beat. So
yeah.
Dave, okay. Before we get started, you mentioned Zoom and becoming comfortable there. Is that a tool you see using, with our hockey players moving forward, whether it be, introducing new players and doing a Zoom meeting or even from a team perspective, having meetings via Zoom and instead of in the rink itself?
Yeah, that's a yes and no. I guess a lot would have to depend on regulations and how they ease and how fast they ease up. I think for me, when dealing with coaches, it could be a better platform as a lot of our coaches have other jobs. So time-wise, not everybody has the time to come to the rink for whatever reasons. So preparing a video and then sending the link out that they can watch, or having the time set up at a time that's maybe later where you don't have to worry about people driving to the rink. They can do it from the comfort of their own home. I think that's an easier way for us to get information out to our coaches in terms of whether it be introducing the kind of the curriculum that we've worked on over the last 14 months for our programs. So everybody's up to speed with that. In terms of players, it would probably be with current restrictions a good way to, if you're having team, if you want to have a team meeting, whereas we don't have your typical dressing rooms open right now, where a lot of the quote unquote chalk talk would take place. Hopefully by the time we get our normal rec league up and operating, that the locker rooms are made accessible to us, so we can get back to that. But that can definitely be used in that manner for sure.
Excellent.
Awesome. So we can move on to the bulk of what this episode is about, and that is return to play. It's very exciting times around here, being able to get more people back at the rink and start programs again. Shoot it over to you, Jesse, for updates on return to play at Irvine and our grassroots programming and stuff like that.
Yeah, like you mentioned, exciting week for us. League play starting at Irvine Inline, our outside facility. Adult games started this week. I believe the youth league games start next week there. 130 teams participating this season. So great response. I think it shows how anxious people were for hockey to return. Over the weekend, we also started relaunching the Little Ducks program in a couple of buildings. Learn to Play will start later this week. Right now, we're just allowing participants that were already in the program to start where they let off this time last year, with the intent of opening that up in June for new participants to sign up, and then the announcement of hockey initiation, youth rec leagues, and learn to skate programs starting in ice facilities the first weekend in May. So exciting time for us, really getting back into the rink, introducing new players to the game, getting players that have been outside of the rink for almost a year now back into the rinks. I don't know about you, Dave, but I'm excited to get back in there and, get back into that hockey community that I've been missing for the last 12 months.
Yeah, and I'm definitely, it's been long enough. It's, I think everybody, I know we see it with the registration and people with the emails and questions. I think a lot of people are kind of itching to get back to normalcy and have their kids back on the ice and get them back into the sport.
Yeah. I know one of the main programs coming back that we were excited to announce is the youth rec leagues, taking place in all 5 of our buildings, really ramping up. We changed the division or the format slightly with the hybrid rec league. Can you talk a little bit more about that and what participants should expect there?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of, it's self-explanatory, hybrid. So it's not our typical season. Reason being is that we're getting the green light to start. We want to get as many kids as we can back on the ice, back into the game. And we felt the quickest way to do that, with some current restrictions that we're still dealing with, the best way to do that is through a hybrid format. And that hybrid format will be, each division will be given 2 clinics, the clinics. And as we follow the ADM model through USA Hockey, those clinics are going to be a lot of station-based clinics where their kids will get a lot of touches to really work on the skills, and kids that have been off the ice for a number of months. It's a good way to get added touches and different skills, and kind of rotate through those sessions, through those setups. And then after that, they'll have 4 games. I guess the kicker of that hybrid will be coming in that first 4 games where all age groups will be playing cross ice. So normally we have your 6U and 8U playing cross ice and half ice, and our 10 and up playing full ice. But our first 4 games is going to be cross ice. Same concept, get more touches, get more kids involved, and we can facilitate that faster and easier with the cross ice model. And knowing that it was going to be a little bit of a hybrid model, we want to kind of, change things up a little bit. We will get back to our normal rec league come the fall. But, we knew that out of the gate, we wanted to get as many kids on back and on the ice as fast as possible. We found that this would be the best method for that. So we'll have the 2 clinics. We'll have 4 cross ice games. The 6U and 8U will stay with the cross ice format the entire time. The 10U, 12U, 14U, 16U, once that 4 cross ice games is done, we will then split them up again onto teams, bigger teams, which will now play 4 full ice games. They will also get 2 practices. So they'll have clinics, ADM style, and then they'll have 2 practices, which will be a little bit more of a team practice setup. So whether it be working on game, types of drills, a little bit different than the clinic based, a little bit more game style drills will be for 2 weeks, and then they'll go into the last 4 weeks of full ice. It's no refs. Our own coaches will do the reffing. We won't be keeping stats. Like I said, it's the hybrid format. It's very similar to what high school hockey is doing right now. It's essentially a hybrid high school league where they're playing 8 games. There's no stats. There's a winner, championship winner, but none of the stats and stuff is being kept for, I guess the high school league. They're not keeping that as part of their, if you look into their past stats and what archives, it's not going to be archived as one of their seasons. But again, for them, it was very important for the seniors at the high school level to get them playing, have them another level. So it's exciting time. There's still a lot of unknown for us. There's still a lot of questions, still dealing with, the pandemic, and we're doing our best to, get things open as fast and as safely as we can to get the kids back. So we're doing everything we can to get these kids back on the ice, but we want to make sure we're doing it the correct way.
Awesome. Yeah, it's exciting to get things going again. I think one thing I left off the icebreakers was being able to coach a little bit more at the clinics that we were running over the summer. That was a lot of fun. But definitely times where just being on the ice, handling the puck, I was like, okay, I'd like to be in some game situations right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of players took part in the clinics that were offered, but any advice for those, Dave, that maybe weren't able to make it into the rink and have been off the ice for, a year or slightly over on things to expect prior to coming back, or tips leading back to that first time getting back on the rink?
I think it's the same for youth as it is adults. When you take a long time off from something, obviously I think the youth kind of rebound a little bit faster. But I guess be patient with yourself. It will come back. It's like riding a bike. Just give it some time, and you will get back to where you were pre-COVID. It's I think for everybody knows it's going to take some time to get back to where we were. But let's just all be happy and excited that we're making our way in the right direction, and we can start to see the light at the end of the tunnel, which I think is, I think it's really important. Obviously I have a 9-year-old daughter who plays tennis, and I think going through this as a parent, I think the big thing is trying to get some normalcy back for our kids. And we're not back to 100% of what we were doing pre-COVID, but it's like every week or every month we're taking little steps by little steps, and we're slowly getting there. But the key part is we're getting there. So I think it's just keep our heads up and know that don't be patient with ourselves. That it's once we get back and a couple weeks into it, we'll start to find our groove as players and even coaches. Like DJ was saying, for some coaches, they've been off for a while, so it'll take a few weeks before we all feel comfortable with our normal programming that we had pre-COVID, but I think we're all excited to get there, and we're excited that where we are now, because where we are now is much more exciting than where we were 3 months, 4 months ago.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you mentioned that we're making steps in the right direction, and those little steps feel like they're gradually becoming bigger steps.
Yeah.
So anxious for what the late spring and early summer have to offer for hockey programs. And I just wanted to take this time to introduce a new program that we hope to launch this summer as well in our building, and it's a step before Learn to Play in our hockey development model, which really is kind of 3 programs coming to one. We've always had the Anaheim Ducks Learn to Play program, designed for new hockey participants to come into our buildings, try hockey for free, followed by the Little Ducks program, which is a beginner hockey program, low cost, includes all of the equipment. Well, now we're going to offer a First Strides program, really designed for those participants that have little or no skating experience, 3 weeks with our Learn to Skate staff, getting the basics of skating down prior to taking part in one of those hockey experiences, and really trying to have a better overall experience when you incorporate all of the hockey skills in addition to skating. And I know, Dave, you've been hands-on with those programs, so maybe you can talk about the long-term benefits of adding that program in advance to Learn to Play, really trying to get participants into Learn to Play that have the basics of skating down already.
Absolutely. I think what you want to, as a parent, you want to know is like, how can my kid best enjoy the experience, right? And from a hockey department, we always say your kid is going to enjoy the experience on the ice when it comes to hockey, when they feel like they can participate with the puck. And a lot of that comes with the learning how to skate, because once they become comfortable on their skates, getting comfortable, they can get up and down by themselves. Then the actual play with the puck and a stick in their hands becomes easier. When it becomes easier, it becomes more enjoyable. When it becomes more enjoyable, it becomes something you want to do more of. So there's some kids, there's always exceptions to every rule, right? There's some kids that jump on the ice at 3 years old and they're gifted. They take to the sport, better or faster than other kids. Some kids might need a little bit more time, which is completely fine. And I think that's, with these programs that we have, whether it be Learn to Play, Little Ducks, Initiation, Rec League, now the First Strides, all of those, there's a step for everybody. No matter where you are, we have a step for you. And I think with the creation of this First Strides really helps put focus back to where the importance is for, I know the game of hockey is skating. If you watch any type of NHL or professional game, the big thing that people will say is that they move so fast, and it's the skating, and it's the game of hockey's turned into a skating game. And if you can't skate, if you can't keep up, it's extremely difficult to play. Not impossible, it just makes it more difficult. So I think providing an avenue where kids can really focus on the skating, whether it be entering a hockey program, whether it be in the middle, after one of our programs, using it as a bridge before they go to another program. I think just having that is going to provide a lot of kind of upside for the kids throughout our program to really have an avenue to kind of go and work on that skating as they're preparing for the next program, or even if it's just extra work. So I'm excited that we have that opportunity that we can really funnel kids that, when they ask questions about skating and whatnot, we have other opportunities for them, other options for them to really go and work on that. So it's very exciting from our department.
Excellent.
Awesome. I think that wraps it up as far as return to play updates, right?
Yeah, I mean, Dave, any other thing? I mean, I know you're, as hockey manager of Great Park, and all of the players that come in and out of that building. Any questions or common things that come up that you'd want to let our customers know about leading back into these return to play programs early May?
I think we talked about when we weren't recording was the adult stuff. Obviously I'm getting a lot of emails and questions about adults, whether it be adults that have kids and youth that are in our youth programs that are seeing that youth is starting. Why is an adult starting? And all we can say is that right now, we're hoping and fingers crossed that we can get our adult stuff back up and running in June. We should have more information in the next week or so on that. But that's kind of what we're kind of focused on now, is getting that back and ready for June. And right now, if you go to our website, you can join the interest list for the adult league. And that way, once we are given the green light to, hey, this is the date, we'll have information and contacts of the people that are interested, whether it be your team, whether it be you as an individual, that we can really reach out to directly from that interest list. So I would urge any of the adult players out there, whether you're a team captain or you're an individual player looking for a team, if you are interested in joining our league when it does start, I highly suggest going onto our site. You can go to any of our sites at the Rinks or Great Park and join that interest list for adult hockey.
Yeah, I'll make sure to, I'll go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, unfortunately, no formal announcement, but I know you and the other hockey players, Hutch and the GMs are carving out times and looking at the schedule. So we're hoping that we have a formal announcement here within the next week or so. But yeah, I encourage people to go and sign up on that interest form. In the meantime, it lets us know who to expect and how to build out those schedules properly.
Yep, and I'll make sure to link our websites in the video and on the audio platform so people can find those easier. I think this is a good place to end things for the first one back. Thanks for everyone for listening or watching. We appreciate it. The new format will have an episode out every month. I think that's the most, I guess, economical for everyone's time to get things done. We'll have guests. We'll make sure to announce guests that are coming on. But yeah, thank you for listening. And you can find these episodes on YouTube or on our YouTube page, the Rinks and Great Park Ice on YouTube. And then you could find it on Spotify and on iTunes in the podcast. So yeah, I think that's it. And I'll make sure to have links for all of our programs that you can sign up in the interest list. Thanks guys for coming on.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.